Hello, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to today's APAC community call. So today we're very glad to have the training session number 4 from the Singapore chapter. But before we do that, first, we will still want to kind of share really quick about the recent OHDSI news that that happened during the last month. So first we have the vocabulary landscape assessment results. As you remember, I think back in end of March, April time, we have asked everyone, there was like a pool link so that we can kind of really write out our feedback and suggestions for OHDSI vocabulary in general. And we have get the results back. And also I think as the screenshot on the left here, I think it's great to hear that the frequent use or the more popular vocabularies we have are, of course, SNOMED, CPT4, RxNorm, ATC. We've been using that quite a lot. And also it is very great to hear from the community on like what perspective or which part that OHDSI could improve later. Because I definitely feel like I think some of it might be from myself, but I think such as, because we have different our vocabulary updates at a very frequent very frequently, which is really, really great, so that we can include, new drugs, new disease into it. And then that does also kind of lead to sometimes a dilemma of like, we're doing the same study, but then our vocabulary are at different version, and that may cause some, disconnections and all that. So I think stuff like that really helps for the community to hear from everyone. And I think we can then work together on how to, identify those issues that may happen, but then we can kind of find a way to avoid it or resolve it. So thanks again for everyone's participation in the pool early on this year. And also feel free to check this out, and exciting and looking forward to hearing more from the vocabulary team on the year plan as well. Thank you. And next, we want to share really quick with everyone that we have, let me just share my screen really quick so I can do we can actually check out the website live. So as you can see here, that with all of our love to Shiny Dashboard and dashboard in general, is very glad and exciting to say that like we have now a new community dashboard that is up and running, that really shows up. I think we did have the publication dashboard, but now we have everything combined together here. This is a very great curve to looking at, that we have more and more publications going through from year to now. And also you can also check out a lot of, on different perspective of OHDSI news, the training perspective, and also, of course, for the studies that we have, whether it's in progress, and to check them out, who are the links to all the GitHub repositories. So just use this as really a information central for everything and everything around OHDSI in general. And of course, there are our highlights on the phenotype library, and also other opportunities available, if you're looking for funding papers and collaborations. But in general, check this out. It is now up and running, and feel free to let us know if any questions or feedback for the dashboard. And then, of course, we will be sending out this link in the chat so everyone can check it out from your end as well. And next, the third news we want to share really quick is that now the recordings are out there for if you're interested on the development part of all the OHDSI 2 site. So feel free to check out the DevCon that earlier this year, and now we have the recording available for everyone to watch or rewatch. Okay, so that's all of the OHDSI news that we want to share with everyone today. So next, we'll have really our main topic today. That is, we're very, very glad and exciting to have invited Astro Data team from Mukkesh and Cindy Hu to demonstrate or to give us the tutorial training on research platform for the Singapore ecosystem and also beyond. So with that, since morning, would you like to do a quick introduction, or would you like me to start here?
Probably, yeah. Let me then have the honor to introduce our
speaker. Yeah, thank you.
Today. So first up, we have Dr. Mukkesh, who's currently the head of data management platform at ㅍSTAR, leading clinical data management, clinical data curation, data stewardship, and many things in ㅍSTAR. Mukkesh is alumni from our school, School of Public Health in NUS. Very proudly, he was one of my first batch of PhD students, a very brilliant researcher. During his PhD, he developed a predictive care framework for diabetes mental health, combining both game theories, AutoML, and other machine learning work. And now, working closely with our Ministry of Health, Mukkesh is also developing the core OMOP data curation team at ㅍSTAR, supporting our MOH Trust national data sharing platform. And together with Mukkesh, we have Ms. Cynthia Ho as well, also a statistician at ㅍSTAR, presenting for us today as well. Cindy, for those who attended last year's APAC Symposium, you probably met both Mukkesh and Cindy. And again, Cindy this year also have submitted one of the abstract to our APAC Symposium. We look forward to seeing her again face-to-face in our Australian APAC Symposium this year. And then Cindy has pioneered the OMOP data curation effort and for growing up the entire Singapore system towards healthcare outcome cohort study, and also developing the OMOP data catalog modules to be integrated with the Gusto data vault, where they will share more today for OMOP-based research studies. Ms. Cynthia Ho graduated with a major in statistics from NUS as well, and with expertise in cardio-metabolic disease. So without further ado, let's hear from Mukkesh and Cindy.
Thanks for the warm welcome on in, Jing. Yeah, let's share the slides. Give us a moment. Okay. Yeah, so I think we're going to be giving a high-level overview of the ㅍSTAR Data Walk platform, and then go into a sneak peek of the OMOP data catalog, which will be released in June. And in fact, our abstract for the upcoming conference is actually based on this, actually. So we're going to give you a sneak peek of that. And lastly, we'll talk about the Singapore national level OMOP data curation team and what's in it, and how we are progressing with that. Okay. Yeah. So start with the intro of the ㅍSTAR Data Walk. So the Data Walk platform is a platform that we built in-house with our ㅍSTAR team. It's been in development over the last 3 years. It's gone through a series of development over the last 3 years. So initially it was just a simple R markdown file, a simple data catalog. And then realized that we needed something more interactive, something that's more integrative as well for the data science and analytics work that we do. And that's when it became a full-fledged platform as it is today. Our intention was to have it for the explorations of research data, biospecimens, and publications that's been generated from the Gusto cohort study as a pilot. And now it's got so much good reach, as you can see, Plotly showcased us in their white paper in terms of how we've been using Plotly tools and data science to openly help with the data science efforts and the human research elements there as well. So the link is there. You can see the URL is provided in the slide. So the site can be accessed anywhere across the world. So when you go into that platform, what you'll see are all data aggregates. There are no data sets that can be downloaded. So it's pretty much statistical summaries, data catalogs, visualizations, dashboards, a lot more interactive stuff there, which I'll demo a bit more later during the session. So you can't download any data sets, but if you require any data sets, you can go through that data governance process. We'll advise you how do you get the data from the Gusto cohort. All right, we can move on to the next slide. Yeah, so these are the Plotly media coverage that we had on Data Walk. So essentially, what we've done is we've used the open source tool, the Plotly tool, to develop the Data Walk platform. And then we've also been working with them on the Dash Enterprise tool as well to make this more full-fledged and more sustainable in terms of the platform's development. So this is where they showcased us in terms of our efforts in using the open source Dash and the Dash Enterprise in building the data platform, and how this has helped researchers all over the world to collaborate with Gusto and understand what's collected in Gusto over the last 10 years. I'll share a bit more on the Gusto cohort later on as well. So essentially, it's a collaboration platform where we want researchers to come together, understand what have we collected in Gusto, and how can we collaborate together and join forces. And it wasn't a single journey, as you can see. It's a cohort that comprises of many domain experts coming together. So this is where we needed a platform like DataWalk to be there. And there's actually knowledge sharing across researchers and collaborators of ours. Yeah, so you can take a look in all these marketing campaigns online as well. They can be easily found. Right. This was last year. We can see Cindy and myself at the event. I think Song is there, so see Chan at the picture here. So this was taken at Taiwan at the APAC Symposium last year. The poster is on the left. This is where we actually introduced Gusto Data Walk for the first time at this platform. And this year we're going to do a sequel. We're going to show how we've added the OMOP data catalog now and how it's leading towards using OMOP data standards in the Gusto Data Walk. Yeah, so globally, we've been getting a very good reach. As you can see, the intention was to have it as a resource tool for A-star Gusto researchers. And today, we have 20% of the researchers, collaborators coming from overseas. So you can see that 80% is made up by Singapore web traffic. The remaining 20% is coming from overseas, US, Canada, UK, our top sites, and it's increasing even more. So we are proud to say that A-star and Gusto Data Walk is definitely reaching out to the communities and helping to further global research and collaboration through this platform. And this is where we see the potential. And there's been a lot of interest also from the other stakeholders in the Singapore ecosystem in wanting to build something similar. Now, we've been in discussions, say, with other organizations like ETH Zurich, where they look at a platform and they say, I want something similar, for ETH Zurich. Can you build this for us? So where we are now heading towards is towards the tech entrepreneurship direction as well. It was initially designed as a tool for Gusto, as a tool for A-star, but now there's potential in that ecosystem where people want this even for their studies and their platforms, and even globally as well, where we share about data walk. One is, of course, there's a research element, and then there's also the element of, can we have something similar, for my study? So now we are very much also in that space of the tech entrepreneurship and heading towards there as well. Yeah, so share more about that, maybe in future calls. All right, let's head over to the next slide. Yeah, so I'm going to go to the demo. So this is a landing page for those of us who are already in the link of Gusto Data. I'll start sharing my screen now.
Yeah, I think the sharing just stopped.
Yeah, I'll be sharing from my screen. So Cindy was sharing earlier. Yeah. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
great.
we can.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So this is the landing page of Gusto Data Vault. Right now, it hosts two major studies of SICS A-star. One is Gusto, another one is Espresso. Gusto is a birth cohort study on mother and child. The Gusto women was recruited back in 2009, and we've been following them up, the mother and child, for the last 13 years. So we've collected over a decade worth of data across the KK Hospital in Singapore and the National University Hospital in Singapore in partnership with A-star. Yeah, so it's a multi-collaborated cohort, which is essentially very dynamic and very big because there's so many health domains that have been studied in the cohort. So this was where there became a need for us to have a platform like DataWalk to understand what is available in Gusto for researchers to understand high level the data catalog. And then we start going into the variables and start interacting the variables. So then researchers can start to collaborate and start forming hypotheses as well. What will be something of interest for them to study, and go on to make the data requests and start doing their publications. Espresso is a sister cohort of Gusto. So Espresso, the difference is that we recruited the women at preconception. So we hypothesized that beyond pregnancy, we should actually start looking at what happens in preconception phase to look at longitudinal outcomes of the mother and child. So that was when the Espresso cohort was started in 2015. And similarly, the design sort of follows them throughout the whole life course. And now we are into the 7th year of the study. And again, it's a longitudinal cohort. So there are two longitudinal cohorts that are like flagship cohorts of Singapore. And there's a lot of interest nationally, globally as well, into tapping into these resources and building knowledge from what we've actually gathered over the years. Yeah. So these functionalities are here in Data Vault. There's the data catalog, which I will share how it works. And then there's the visualizations, biospecimens, publications, data playground, and how we can request for data. So given the time we have, I will just do a quick overview of each of the module. Of course, happy to share more in future calls, or if you want to have a separate session, happy to share more as well. Yeah. So how we start the journey in Data Vault is looking at the catalog, right? So high level, it gives you a big overview of what is there in Gusto. So this is the data catalog, but you can see that it's not a static catalog. You can actually interact with it and do some querying on it as well, right? So now I'm in the Gusto catalog, and let's say my hypothesis is looking at the weight of the child. So I do a keyword search on weight, and I specify the subject type to be a child, right? I do a search. It searches through my domains and returns back the relevant data sets that are related to my keyword. So here I mentioned weight, right? So you can see that the two data sets that are being returned, and how you can sort of understand this table is their domains, as you can see on the left pane here, across all the data sets that's been collected in the cohort. These range from women's health, maternal metabolic health, mental health, to children's health, child metabolic health, child neurodevelopment, so forth, right? And then there are time points, right? These are the longitudinal time points of the study. So in this table, you can see that it has returned the result for the children's health domain. And under that, there's a theme and there's a topic. So you can think of it as a hierarchical structure of how the database schema looks like, right? And then there's the time points. So curated means that the data set has already been cleaned, curated, and ready for analysis. Raw in progress means that data collection is either ongoing, like Gusto year 13 is an ongoing data collection time point, or data collection is ended, but we've gone to the data cleaning phase. So that's where you can see year 11 is at right now. Yeah, so this has gone into cleaning phase, and eventually this will be moved into curated, and you'll be able to explore the data set, right? So now we know that there is the weight data set. So let's say this is the one we're interested in. We go into the topic page. It lists the longitudinal sample size in a quick glance for you, right? Right from delivery. And over the years, these are the sample size we have on the Gusto chart, right? So we can see that we had about 1,200 Gusto kids born. And over the years, because of loss to follow up, we do see some dropout in the numbers. But right now, effectively, if you look at year 9, we have about 775. And year 10, there was 683. And part of the reason for the sample size drop is also COVID, right? So we sort of didn't see some subjects, partly also because of COVID. But otherwise, the intention is to show what is the numbers looking like. And beyond that, the catalog and the dictionary, right? So this is the dictionary in this table here behind this particular topic, right? So these are all the variables that are related to the weight domain. And you see there are z-scores, and you can look across the results, right? Z-scores over the years that's been derived using WHO standards. And then there's length, height, other parameters, categorical variables like overweight classification of the subject, and the age of the child at the visit, right? So this is the metadata, the data catalog, which describes the variable. As you can see, they've been standardized to a standard format so that this is aligned with the conventions we adopt. And then there's a description field. If it's a categorical variable, there are labels as well to describe what 0 means and what 1 means. And then there are units if they are, say, continuous variable, right? And then a time point and the number of responses we have. So again, from a researcher's perspective, you will be able to understand what that data set or variable potentially is looking like, and the sample size that you may be obtaining eventually when you request for this. But beyond that, we wanted to actually understand the variable more intricately, right? So not just a static catalog or not just a static table, right? I want to understand the variable a bit more in terms of the distributions and simple correlations with some hypotheses that I may have in mind. So let's say here, I'm going to go into a weight search again. Go back to table. Okay, so let's pick this as an example. Child's weight measured at month 18 visit. Okay. So this particular variable is being displayed here. So you can see that the histogram is being generated with the box plot and the summary statistics with your interquartile ranges. So at a quick glance, you can know that this particular variable I have 900 subjects with data available, and the mean weight of the child at month 18 was 10.7 kilos. Yeah, and I think it looks a bit skewed in terms of distribution. So yeah, it's a very high level understanding, aggregate statistic of this variable without having to wait for that variable itself, right? And then now let's say my hypothesis is it's going to be something to do with maybe the fasting glucose level of the mother during pregnancy, and the association is the outcome of the child's weight at month 18. Yeah, so it quickly pulls up for you a regression plot. You can see the trend lines, and then you can go a step further to even look at the stratifications. Let's say I'm going to do this by ethnicity. Now you got 3 different lines appearing, and you can see the data points are being shown as well. So this again helps researchers to customize the hypothesis formulation and look at the data more intricately, beyond just a static variable that could be in a PDF file. And again, help researchers in forming their ideas and research hypotheses. Yeah, so that's the catalog. Another one that I quickly want to show is the dashboards that we've been developing. So these are thematic-based dashboards that our team have been developing. So now you want to understand what the demographic profile of the Gusto women is looking like. You can see that this is a quick output of these dashboards, right? You can already see the distribution of the age, the ethnicity, and you can even do stratification as well. So this helps you to again understand it more visually. If you're more of a visual person and you want to see them, the distributions and what the categories are looking like. I can go on to also do stratification here, right? Let's do ethnicity, right? Do a stack or 100% stack. And then you can see the distribution across the various groups too. Yeah, so we've pre-created them at a thematic level, again, to help researchers quickly have a glance visually with dashboards. Now, if you're really very adventurous, you can build these dashboards yourself. That's where the data playground comes in. So this is essentially a canvas that we created for researchers to create their own dashboard, for you to ideate, think of an idea, and you want to look at cross filters across concepts. Now, how do you do that, right? So you can see there are standard plot types here, right? Let's start with histogram. And this is a histogram, yeah, and generating. I can go on to change this variable, right? Right now, you can see this is a histogram for the 2-hour plasma glucose at week 26 of pregnancy. I can change this to another variable. I can even name this accordingly, right? Let's just call this a sample. Confirm. I can see changes. Now let's say I'm going to have another plot side by side, right? I can insert another histogram. It appears here. And then now I can also play around with the variables. Now let's say this is going to be the birth weight of the child. So we can see that essentially you can play around with these dashboards and you can start creating more dashboards as well. There's box plots, scatter plots. So this again helps the researcher yourself to play around with the data even more. That's why I've named it as Data Playground. One step beyond the standard dashboards that data scientists may have pre-created for researchers. So you can ideate your ideas, and once you find something of interest, you can actually save this workspace, right? And then you can mention this as part of a data request, and that goes along with your query that's being saved as data request. So that dashboard is there. You could utilize it again if you're going to be playing around further, or use it as a supporting tool to go along with your data request form to show that you're seeing these trends and these are variables of interest, and potentially these are the ones that will be, of what you'll be requesting for. Yep, so again, to help researchers in helping with their research journey, right from hypothesis formulation all the way to exploration. Right, the third feature I want to highlight is the publications. Yeah, so what we've done here is we've actually built a repository of the Gusto and Espresso publications that have been generated over the past decade. And again, historically, the challenge is either you do a search in, say, a public scholar platform or in libraries, or journal sites, right? And again, could be quite tedious. Now, if I want to have a quick understanding of what has been found in Gusto, say in the area of gestational diabetes, right? It does a search for you. Yeah, so it does a search and returns for you the relevant publications that are in the area of gestational diabetes. So what we've done is we've used the keywords in the publications and used it in our search algorithm behind the scenes. You can export these results to help you in doing further searches that you may want to be doing. And you can actually go into the particular paper itself. Like you can say one of my papers are showing up here, right? We have the alt metrics also that are being displayed. And let's just use this paper. Okay. You see that it describes the title, the authors, the keywords, and a word cloud is here. So quick glance, you can already tell what this paper is about. It's dealing with pregnancy, diabetes, gestational diabetes. And again, if you were to look at the DOIs and PubMed IDs, these are there. So it brings you to the link directly. So the journal link is here. The PubMed link is also here. With that, you can go on to do your advanced searches. So the quick summary abstract, MASH terms are here. And if the paper is publicly available, you can actually download and click on it to view the paper itself. Yeah. Let's do another example on micronutrients. Yeah, so you can see there are only about 6 papers here. I'm going to pick a paper, perhaps this one. Yeah, and you can see this is a paper that's published in 2020 looking at diet on maternal child health from Gusto, right? Word cloud. And you can actually see the paper. Clicking on it actually gives you the output of this particular paper without you having to search through the journal sites or the library sites. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's essentially a quick overview of DataVault. And I also want to introduce you the high-level search that we've also done and built here. So what this does is across all the modules in DataVault, with this keyword search, you can actually pull out relevant areas of results, right, to be written. So again, let's pull diabetes as an example. Yeah, maybe you're going to select a topic. Let's choose a topic. Okay, so you can see the relevant data sets of interest appearing here. Yeah, so this is again doing a cross search across the whole modules, and the relevant fields are being written. Yeah, so that's essentially the platform which we wanted to introduce to you, and we're going to be building the OMOP data catalog as our next effort here, where Cindy will be sharing more about it next. The idea is to have the OMOP CDM built in DataVault. Right now, what you see is the DataVault CDM, right? Our custom CDM that's been developed. And how they've been structured is in this format. We've got a demography table, women's health table, maternal metabolic table, so forth, right? You can see it just goes on. But what we're going to do is, can we have the schema to be representing what the OMOP CDM is looking like? So make it OMOP friendly, right? And the idea is to again have integrated study searches and distributions and analysis to be done through this platform. So that's where we've been developing the OMOP data catalog. And Cindy will be giving an overview of how we've been working on that and our journey as well in terms of the OMOP CDM mapping over the last 1 to 2 years. Okay, thanks. Over to Cindy.
Yeah, so like what Mukkesh said, I will be talking about the OMOP data catalog module in our data board. This is still work in progress, so we haven't pushed it to the release data board yet. So yeah, then I'll briefly talk about the tools that we used and the CDM tables that we have and some difficulties, and then at the end we'll talk about a demo session. Yeah. Okay, so for our OMOP data conversion journey, we initially used the white rabbit and rabbit in a hat tools to map the data from our Gusto format to the OMOP format. Then there's some limitations for using the tools because the Gusto data is a bit different and so later I'll talk more about the limitations. Then currently we are mainly just using Athena and customize our scripts for the mapping. Yeah, then it is tedious, but then I find that using the Athena only is faster than if we use the white rabbit and rabbit in a hat for our Gusto data. Yeah. Then in the future, we will be using the IQVIA OMOP converter. And hopefully this will speed up the process for the OMOP mapping. Yeah. Then next, we are using the CDM version 5.4. And because of the Gusto domains that we have, the OMOP tables that we have are quite restricted because currently we have the person table, the condition table, observation and measurement table. Then we do not have like those drug or procedure tables because we don't test them or have it in the Gusto study. Yeah. So for the person table, there's mother, child, and father. Then bulk of the data is on the mother and the child pair. And for the father's data, we have a few, not as much as the mother and the child. Yeah. Then for the condition table, because we have questionnaires that ask about the medical or diseases information for the mother and child. So we have that for the condition table. And for the observation table, bulk of the Gusto data is here because we have a lot of questionnaires that ask about the child and about the family lah. Yeah. Like for example, the household info or the income of the family. Then for the measurements, we have it because we have the anthropometry table like what Mukkesh showed just now, and also have some blood tests, blood analysis, and the urine test. Yeah. Then some of the challenges that we face is because there's a lot of manual work involved in the OMOP mapping. There's for our Gusto variables, some of the variables are either too specific or too broad. Like for example, they can ask whether the child had this certain sickness in the past 3 months. Yeah. So and then also some of the questions can be mapped to two concept IDs. Like for this example, like whether the child has been diagnosed with bronchiolitis and bronchitis. So these two, they have OMOP mapping for each of the illness. Yeah. So for this kind, we couldn't find a perfect mapping for it lah. Then another challenge that we faced is that we have a lot of questions that have specific categories for the variables. Like for example, for this one, they ask how often have you done moderate exercise. Then there's never once every 2 to 3 months, once a month, once a fortnight, 1 to 2 times per week, 3 to 6 times per week, once a day and more than once a day. So we can't map all these categories. Yeah. Okay, then now I'll move on to the data catalog demo. So in the future, when we have finalized the OMOP data catalog, we will put it in the data board under a new header here. So in the main page, it will be the tables and simple explanations about what we do. There's different tabs at the sides for the different tables, for the different OMOP tables. So like for the person table, there's the mother, child, and father tables, then you will be able to expand some of the fields to look at the breakdown of the data. Yeah, like for the race, we can expand it and see the different races that we have here. Then like for example, yeah, same for the other tables, you can expand it and see the different things. Then also we have included a search bar for each page. Like I'll show, for example, if we want to look for income, we can search for income and it will auto filter it to the variables that are related to the term that you searched. Yeah, so we are still working on it, so there's not a lot of variables yet. And we hope to be able to put more and release it soon. Yeah, so that's all. Oh, Mukkesh, you want to continue?
Yeah, thanks, Cindy. Yeah, so I think that was a sneak peek of the OMOP data catalog in Data Vault, which we'll be showcasing in Sydney for the OHDSI APAC conference as well. Yeah. All right. I'll share now a bit more of the national level progress that's happening in terms of OMOP for Singapore. Yeah. Yeah, so as we are all aware, the OMOP CDM is gaining a lot of prominence and acceptance as well globally. And Singapore, I think thanks to Monin and Niam, they've been advocating a lot for OMOP CDM, and that's why we are heading towards this direction as well, right? So nationally, this is where we are going towards. Trust has actually selected OMOP to be the data standard for clinical data. And Trust is basically a national level health exchange platform, which allows secure data sharing, where you can actually integrate research data with real world data, for example, your hospital data or your educational data, other data that's out there, and fuse it with your research data and return it back to researchers to do more extended analysis, right? And again, forge collaborations between public institutions and across private sectors as well. And to help to go ahead with that is where we realized that because all our data sets that we're contributing are in different schemas. Earlier, I just showed you Gusto's data schema. Now another cohort has a different schema. How do we align? So that's where OMOP CDM is the common standard that we are adopting towards. And to go with that is where we are partnering with MOH in building this central team with the expertise of OMOP mapping knowledge to be doing this for the trust strategic data contributors like Gusto. So the example that Cindy showed earlier is one of the work that we've been doing and will be extended across more cohorts as well. So the initial year is going to be more of a pilot where we're picking Gusto and 2 more cohorts from Singapore and do OMOP mapping. And then come back with our findings in terms of, how much have we mapped, doability and, what is lacking, what do we need to do next. And essentially at steady state, this central team will be the ones doing the mapping at a national level. Now, when a data contributor comes to MOH and they share the data, A-Star will be providing our support and resource in doing this mapping with MOH and giving the fused data set back to the researcher in the OMOP CDM format. So it's a lot of effort, and to get there is where we are forming this central team. The next slide gives a bit of outline for the milestones for this central team that's being formed. Yeah. So where we are right now is at the contract finalization stage across A-Star and MOH, and this is established. So now we are heading towards forming this team officially and start to do the pilot across the key data sets that have been identified in the initial first year, and Gusto is one. There are 2 other cohorts that we've also identified for this initial pilot. Our intention is with this central team, we go on to do mapping for a variety of data types, say clinical data, genotyping data, imaging data, EHR data, right? And then now we want to be seeing how much conformance is there using the OMOP CDM. That's where we're going to establish the generic methodology, the workflow for the different data types. And let's say we don't have that captured in the OMOP data standards. How is our approach going to be like? For example, we could be dealing with DNA methylation data, or we could be dealing with microbiome data. what is going to be our approach there in such scenarios, right? So this is where we are establishing these protocols and standards at a national level, and also aligning on our quality control rules and developing training materials, to be doing this at a national level. So definitely we are scaling our efforts. You can see it's beyond Gusto. Now it's a national level they're heading towards, and I think there's more to come for the team. Yeah. So yeah, we are really excited to see where this is going to be heading towards, along with the partnership of the OHDSI community here. Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. Any questions? Yeah.
Thank you so much, Cash and Cindy. This is really helpful. You know, I do have a question if I can go first.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
see Nicole has a question. Nicole, do you want to go first?
No, you go ahead, Jing.
Yeah, thank you. So I was just very curious, like for Gusto data, I think it's a very specific angle, like you're looking at, like from the privacy delivery child care kind of throughout the whole thing for to link the children with the mother and father. Yes.
Is Jing
Can you
breaking
hear
up,
me?
or is it
Yeah.
is it just me? Okay,
Yeah, I think
Jing,
is breaking up. Yeah.
you
Oh,
broke up
let me
essentially
turn off-
that whole sentence. Yeah.
Oh, I was just one. Can you hear me better? I turn off my camera.
You're still breaking up a bit.
Okay. Nicole, do you want to ask first? Let me do something.
Okay. Sure. Well, but first of all, I just want to congratulate you on that great work. It's phenomenal what you're doing, and yeah, just congratulations. So just my question, I suppose, is about the Gusto data set. So it sounds like what you're trying to do is map survey data, which is if I'm not understanding correctly, please let me know. But as a community, is that being done a lot in other data sources? So it seemed like you had to kind of create some new mappings for different questions and answers, and I just wondered, is that something that's happening a lot now in OHDSI, and is there a community kind of working together on how to do that? Because there are other data sources that I would have access to, and I hadn't really thought about translating them into the OMOP CDM. So just wanting to sort of understand a bit about that.
Yeah. So the Gusto data types, they are questionnaires. That makes up about 50% of the data type. And then of course there's the standard measurement fields like your height, weight, and then your lab markers, for example, glucose. And then of course there's things like your imaging and your omics platform. So it's quite diverse. But questionnaires make up about 40 to 50% of our data. And yeah, we are facing challenges partly because of that, because OMOP CDM, as you know, is developed thinking of an EHR setup, right? And here in research setting, an epidemiological research setting, we're dealing with questionnaires and a lot of concepts that's not been designed for real world data. Yeah, and we would really like to see more efforts happening there with the community coming together to see what we can do to expand the library for doing mapping that are related to questionnaires. Yeah.
So FYI, just so that you guys know, actually V6 has the questionnaire table in it. But of course, and there was a whole community, a working group that actually worked on that. Sorry, my navigation is talking. But because V6 got decommissioned, that survey table never got really officially announced. But I believe if you go to the OHDSI CDM wiki site, you might see those tables. I think there's the CDM V6 documentation is still there on how they actually were looking at creating the survey and questionnaire survey and answer tables. There is a design for it.
Okay, that'll be helpful. We can take a look further.
Yeah, there's a design. If you don't have it, let me know and I can try to get Claire to send it.
All right.
Because it wasn't we didn't kill V6 because of the survey questionnaire. We killed V6 because of something else, and we downgraded it to 5.4, right? But that survey table did go through an entire process of vetting, and they came up with standard questions and standard answers, all of that. I only know this because I was part of that group at one point in time.
Okay.
Yeah, that's useful. Thanks,
Yeah.
Mui.
Thanks.
Yeah, so if you go to the Odyssey Wiki site, there is a new table there, like Mui said. It's called Survey Underbar Conduct, and you can see a lot of the fields that are there and how it was initially discussed to map into the OMOP, the new table of this related to survey. So yeah, I think it's worth checking out.
Okay.
Again,
Jing?
V6 isn't out, so it's not technically official or anyone's using it, but it's not, again, it's not that it's not what we designed, because it is something we designed, but it's just not official yet because it got redacted. But it should be the same when we do go up to the new version. I believe they don't intend to change that table.
Jing, I think you had a
Yes.
question earlier. Yeah.
Can you hear me well now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I don't know why I just changed the room. But yeah, so I was just wondering because I think Cindy mentioned earlier too, kind of some of the challenges you face when converting Gusto data into OMOP, and as you just mentioned, because it's questionnaire, they're a bit unusual for data conversion compared with EMR and all that. Like I was just wondering, like, are you using quite a lot, like currently, not the new table mentioned by Mui earlier, but are you using quite a lot for observation? Because I think observation table can give you the more freedom on the value side. You can essentially it's like a few, you can put whatever string in it to show kind of what's the answer to the questionnaire thing. Is that kind of what you've been using, or?
Yeah, that's right. We've been
Okay.
using the observation table a lot, and maybe Cindy can share more on how our approach has been for the questionnaires thus far. Yeah.
Yeah, so for the questionnaires, yeah, a lot of the mapping that we do is in the observation table. Then of course for the variables we have like the questions and the values. So currently we are mapping, like, for example, the bronchitis question. There's in other time points there's a question that they ask about the bronchitis only. So we'll map the bronchitis variable itself, and then for the values we will put the different, like, yes or no, or if those is like for those that categories with the how many times per day, those kind, then we'll put the whole phrase. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. And then most of your questionnaires are, questions and answers. Were there graphics or images or stuff like that too? Because I think I've heard like there were also challenges when you have, some tests. They are, it's not a string, good or not, positive, but do you have that challenges, or maybe the observation table should be okay or enough for those question answers?
For us, there are some questionnaires with graphics, but then because along with the graphics we have some words to describe it.
Gotcha.
So we can just use the words.
Just use the words as a conclusion of the. Okay, that makes total sense. Thank you. That's my curiosity. Thank you. Any other questions, comments from the audience?
So I think another challenge is to convert registry data into OMOP CDM is the temporal resolution. So the date is the required field in most of the tables in OMOP CDM, and we do not have some temporal information for most of the questions in the survey. So that's another challenge we usually have when we need when you convert the registry data or clinical trials data into OMOP CDM.
Thank you, Chen. Any other questions? All right, as everyone is thinking about any other questions, I just want to give, just as we really just another round of thank you for Mukkesh and Cindy for presenting today. It's really great to learn that we have been the other progress you have made in Singapore. Thank you so much, and also presenting today for us. Thank you. Also, I think last but not least, we want to just announce again that we are now May the 18th, and then we're less than 2 months away from our symposium this year at Sydney, Australia. So we want to again let everyone know that the registration is now up on OHDSI website, and along with all the agenda information as and also excuse me, along with all the agenda information. So please, we'll be very looking forward to see you there in Sydney in person. And also Mukkesh just and Cindy also mentioned earlier, they will be sharing more about Gastro progress and all the other fancy things and exciting things happening in Singapore. So please stay tuned for that as well. As Song is sharing here, we have the registration up in Eventbrite. So you can set up, you can register from there. And also for just a quick reminder for everyone, so now we actually have a lightning talk session in the main conference day on July the 13th. So for the ones who have submitted your poster and got accepted, and then we will be actually, just look out for your calendar. We might be, there might be the invitation for a lightning talk. And again, thank you all for the participation in the collaborator showcase as well. Cool. All right. Thank you, everyone. Oh, sorry, Nicole.
Oh, no, I was just saying thanks, Jing. Yes, please, please jump on and register. And I also wanted to just thank you all so much for your abstract submissions. We had some really great submissions, and I'm really looking forward to some great science being shared in Sydney, first time ever. So I'm really looking forward to it. So please come along.
Yeah, it will be my first time for Sydney.
Oh, great.
See you there.
All right, thanks everyone.
I'm flying 16 hours to get there, so yeah.
Hey, Mui, I've done this many times. There's no sympathy.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
But still, I am so looking forward to 16 hours of flights.
Oh,
Yes,
it's a pleasure.
Yeah, it's 12 hours for me.
Just 12 hours for you, Chad.
How could it be 12 for you, but 16 for me? You're like so much closer than me.
Oh, it's still a long way.
But Australia is on the other end, on the other side of that.
On the other end.
Everywhere's a long way.
So you see, we got some dedicated people here who's gonna fly 12 to 14 hours. So come on, folks, no excuse to not register here, right?
Exactly. I was just at a conference at our conference venue just yesterday, actually, and it's a fabulous venue. So we should have some fun.
Awesome. Thank you, Nicole. And
right.
again,
Thanks, everyone.
please register, and we'll be, that's only less than 2 months away. Looking forward. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. And as usual, we'll be having the recordings and slides up in the OHDSI website for you to check it out too. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.